Hey guys, welcome back. Here we are going to discuss about the software of a computer. In the previous video, we discussed about the memory storage, right? And here we are going to discuss about the software and the classifications of software. Starting with the definition of software. So software is generally a collection of instructions, and this enables the user to interact with the computer with its hardware devices and to perform some task with the help of the computer. So that is why we are going for software. And how the software is created means the computer program writes instructions using some programming languages. So with the help of programming languages, the programmer will write some instructions, and that is actually called as a software. And coming to the classification of software, as we discussed previously, that is, software is classified into two types. One is system software and application software. So system software is designed to control the computer hardwares, the operations of computer hardwares and some application programs. And coming to application software, it is designed to perform some specific task, and this application software can be used by end users. So we have also seen some of the examples for system software and application software. And now we will discuss about the operating system. So this operating system comes under the category system software, which means it is used to control and manage the hardware operations and application programs. So here operating system is a software and it performs all basic tasks, and this acts as the interface between the computer hardware and the user. That is, whenever a user wants to communicate with the computer hardware devices, then the user can do it with the help of this operating system. So it is acting as an interface between the hardware and the computer user. So for example, Linux is an operating system, then Windows is an operating system, again Mac is an operating system. Like we have some of the operating systems. Here you can see the structure of the operating system, that is how it is acting as an interface between the computer user and the hardware, computer hardwares. So here these are all the users, and here is the operating system, so which lies between the user and the computer hardware. So here are the computer hardwares, that is CPU, RAM and IO devices. So with the help of this operating system, the user can able to interact with these hardware devices inside the computer. So here we have the two classifications, one is system software and application software. Along with this, the operating system can perform some functions like memory management, process management, device management, file management, and some other important activities as well, like providing security for the system, then taking control over some system performance, then for job accounting, that is scheduling jobs and error detecting, then coordination between the softwares and the users. Coming to memory management, so here the memory management refers to the management of primary memory or main memory. Here main memory is a large array of words, and here each and every word in the main memory has its own memory address. And as we know that the CPU fetches the data directly from the main memory, that is, it can access data directly from the main memory. So the main memory provides the fastest storage, and whenever we need to execute a program, so that program should reside in the main memory during execution. So here the operating system do some of the activities for memory management. Like first, it keeps track of the primary memory, that is, it will check which part of the memory is currently used by which program, and which part of the memory is not in use. So it keeps track of all those details about the primary memory. Then whenever we are having a multi-programming environment, so in that the OS will decide which process will get memory and when that memory will get allocated, also how much memory should be allocated for that process. So all those things will be handled by the OS here. And the next job or the next activity, that is done by the OS here is it allocates the memory whenever a process requests for the memory. And once the process is no longer needed, or once the process gets terminated, this memory will get deallocated. So all these things will be happened with the help of the OS. So this is the memory management. Then coming to process management. So in multi-programming environment, here the OS decides which process should get the processor, and when it should get the process, and for how much time the processor can be allocated for the particular process. So we call this function as process scheduling. So the operating system do the following activities for processor management, like, so it keeps track of the processor and the status of process. So in which status the process is, that is whether it is executing or whether it is running or whether it is in ready state. So it will keep track of the status of process, and then it will allocate the processor to a process. So once the process is requesting a processor, then it will allocate that processor to a process. After the process gets terminated, it will deallocate the processor. So these are all the process management that is done by the operating system. Then the next one is the device management. So here the operating system manages the device communication. So with the help of the drivers. So each and every device have a drivers. That is, when we are saying about IO device, then the IO device have the IO drivers. So with the help of that drivers, so this operating system manages the device communication. And how it will do that? How the device management is happening here is by keeping track of all the devices. So this is called as the IO controller. So here the program that is responsible for this task is known as the IO controller. The IO controller will keep track of all the devices. Then it decides which process gets the device and when that device should be allocated to a process, and for how much time the particular device should be allocated for a process. So after that, whenever the process gets end, then it will deallocate those devices from the process. So this is what happening in device management. And finally, coming to file management. So we know that normally a file system is organized into directories, right? So here we are using directories for easy navigation and usages, and these directories may contain files as well as other directories also. So here in the file management, the operating system will keep track of the information of the file, the location of the file, and what is the status of that file. So all those things will be monitored by the operating system in the file management. Then it decides who should get that resource. Okay, so who should get that particular file, and it allocates the resources here. Then after the process gets completed or gets terminated, again it will deallocate those resources. So this is what happening in the file management. And coming to other important activities, as mentioned here, it provides a security by means of a password, and it prevents unauthorized access to programs and data. So by that it is providing security. Then control over system performance. So here it will record the delays between the request and the response for a service. So by recording this delays, so this will control the system performance. And the next is the job accounting. So in this job accounting, it will keep track of the resources used by various jobs. So what are the jobs that is having some resources, that is allocated with resources. So that will be keep track by this job accounting process. And the next one is error detecting. So here this will trace the errors and it will produces the error messages. Also it has some error detecting aids. And then next, the final one is the coordination between other softwares and users. So the coordination of other software includes compilers, interpreters, assemblers. So here it will coordinate and assign compilers, interpreters and assemblers and other softwares to various users of computer system. So that is what the coordination between other softwares and the users. and these are all about the operating system. So now we will see the other softwares. So the first one is compiler. So compiler means it is a program, and the basic use of compiler is it is used to convert the source code into object code. That is, we can say a machine code. Here source code means the source code can be in any of the languages like C, C++, Java, Python, whatever the language may be. So that type of languages we are using for writing some program, right? So that is called as the source code here. And the machine code, that is the machine understandable code, it converts that source code into machine understandable code. Basically we know machine understandable code is bits, that is binary digits, zeros and ones. So this is the job of a compiler. Compiler is a program that converts source code into machine code. It also scans the entire program once at a time. So it does not require any source code for execution, because it is converting the source code into object code once at a time. So there is no need of a source code for executing in compiler. And these are some of the languages that uses compiler, that is C, C++, C#, etc. Then next is the interpreter. Here the interpreter is same like compiler. It is a program and it converts the source code into machine code. And the basic difference between compiler and interpreter is, so here the interpreter scans program line by line and it translates one instruction at a time, and then it executes that instruction immediately. Whereas in compiler it scans the entire program once at a time, and here it scans line by line. And since it is scanning line by line, it requires the source code for execution. And the examples, the languages which is using interpreter are Ruby, Python, etc. And the next one is the assembler. So here the assembler is used to translate assembly code into machine code. So generally the assembly code comes in the form of mnemonics. Like we can say the instructions like move, then add, sub. So these are all the mnemonic codes, and these codes are used in the assembly language. So these codes can be converted into a machine code with the help of assembler.